Hello, and welcome to the 305, the podcast where we watch the original Criterion Collection on Laserdisc in order of release. Today, we're watching the 1957 Swedish classic, The Seventh Seal, by director Ingmar Bergman. And my guest is Hrannar Baldursson, who is a teacher, a philosopher, a chess player as well. And he is currently residing in Iceland, which was the closest I could get to Sweden for this episode. So hello, Hrannar. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Hello, John. Thank you very much.
I'm curious, what is your experience up to now with this film? Have you seen it before?
I may have seen it back when I was 7 years old on the Icelandic state television.
Oh, okay.
Because on Fridays, when I was a kid, they showed these gloomy pictures. Every now and then. And yes, I remember having seen it. And the only scene I remember actually is the one with the knight playing chess with death.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any other details.
You remember the important one then. That's the iconic scene.
Yeah, and of course it's on the poster of most DVDs that have been sold on this movie. So it's an iconic scene, of course. And of course, probably an inspiration to Mr. Death in the Bill and Ted movies.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're familiar. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you weren't, I was going to bring that up and possibly play a clip of them playing Battleship together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Clue was the other one.
A Clue? That one with Tim Curry?
Yeah, in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, I think, they play Battleship, and then after that, they play the board game Clue.
Okay, I thought you were jumping into the movie Clue.
No, not yet.
Weird.
No, Death manages to guess very poorly at the killer in Clue, so he continues to try to get them to go for best 5 out of 7 games or best 9 out of 15.
Of course.
Well, do you have any particular expectations for this film? Do you think you might enjoy it?
I have no idea. It's just I haven't seen a Bergman movie for a long time, and I remember most of them as being quite gloomy, like Scandinavian winter usually is, and I believe it's. Most of his movies are quite philosophical, but even though I've studied philosophy, I really don't watch too many philosophical movies. It's like when it's your job to think deep, you want to have fun while watching movies, right?
Yes, of course.
But now most of my job is in education, so I can be entertained by philosophy.
Good. This is good timing then.
Oh, I believe so. I might actually start watching the whole catalog of Ingmar Bergman after this if I really like it.
Oh, that's a big catalog. He did over 60 films, it said.
Oh, yes. It's pretty large, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, you would probably have to watch Woody Allen after that.
Yeah, big influence on him.
Yes. Well, I thought he copied a lot of the stories.
Well.
But I may be wrong about that.
He did at least one. He translated, Smiles of a Summer Night was the movie he made right before Seventh Seal. It was a romantic comedy, and Woody Allen adapted it into a movie called A Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy.
Yeah. And then he also did was it The Day at the Mall or something like that?
I'm not sure. I didn't come across that title.
Scenes from a Mall. And Bergman had made a movie that was called Scenes from a Marriage. The relationship is quite clear. I don't know enough about Ingmar Bergman or Woody Allen to say something wise about them. But that's the little I know.
Well, the little I know is that I listened to an interview with him about The Seventh Seal, and he said that his favorite movie of Bergman's is The Seventh Seal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The quote that I wrote down was that he said, "It sounds like such a grim theme, but the brilliance of Bergman is that it's suspenseful. From the first scene, you're gripped. It's like a brilliant and sinister fairy tale."
Oh, sounds like we are going to watch a Guillermo del Toro movie,
Oh, yeah, similar, yeah.
because those are quite dark, gripping, and well done.
Well, we'll have to do some comparison after we watch the movie.
Yes, let's see what it makes us think of. So we will actually watch this in silence, in grim silence.
Yes, if you like, I can certainly watch it in grim silence anytime. And with that, we will be right back.
The one thing about Hidden Fortress is it did influence me in doing Star Wars, because as I was beginning to write the screenplay and put it together, I remembered Hidden Fortress, and I remembered the one thing that really struck me about Hidden Fortress, and I was really intrigued by, was the fact that the story was told from the two lowest characters. I decided that that would be a nice way to tell the Star Wars story, which is to take the two lowliest characters, as Kurosawa did, and tell the story from their point of view, which in the Star Wars case is the two droids. And that was the strongest influence, actually.
Come back next episode for a discussion on 1958's The Hidden Fortress, a samurai period drama by Akira Kurosawa that is now well known as an influence on the original Star Wars. Well, that... I'm glad that we watched it in grim silence. That seemed fitting for a very grim movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still I'm like worn out from watching it. It's sort of tiring.
Yes. I remember now that when I was 7, I stopped watching after like 2 minutes.
Oh, you only saw Death playing chess and you said that was enough?
At the beats. No. It's just the scene afterwards.
Which one was that?
When the actors appeared for the first time.
Oh, I see. You just hate actors.
No, I just didn't get it. I was 7. Come on.
I'm 34 and I'm not positive that I get it either.
Well, they're the silly people in the movie, right?
Yes. They're definitely the optimists, I would say, out of the movie, as opposed to all of the cynics and the doubters through the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's quite a cast of characters. Good character development, that's for sure.
Yeah, particularly with the knight, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if he changes really by the end of it, but he definitely had the strongest dialogue with Death about his own personal doubts and struggling with this idea of whether there's anything more meaningful out there.
Well, it's all about finding that meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see it is that he has been doing these crusades for 10 years with his squire, and this squire basically does everything for him.
Basically.
He's the hero. He's basically the hero, the action hero. But the knight just wanders and does nothing and sees everything and kind of seems like a depressed guy who despises himself and everything around him. Mm-hmm. And then there's the moment of death when he realizes that he is going to die. And he discovers that he hasn't done one good deed his whole life. And he just wants to get an opportunity to do something decent for once. Mm-hmm. And that's why he tries to delay his death by playing chess with death. So the way I see it, the one good thing he does is to let the actors, Joseph and Mary, with their little child, escape death. Because as he discovered in his dialogue with death that he knows nothing. He has no secrets. So meaning that if the actors go away, he's not going to remember them. And he just follows the night and takes everyone that is accompanying him. But why does he choose these people to die with him? And let the others go? That's maybe the question.
Yes, I was surprised, for instance, to see the blacksmith join them in the end. I didn't even notice when he joined the party, but suddenly he was there in the caravan.
Yes, of course he joined the party because he was chasing the actor and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally when that other actor just died, he just stuck around.
He didn't have anything better to do?
No, he had probably received a pretty good sum of money from the academy or something.
He could go on a journey to find himself across Europe.
Yeah, of course this movie is quite poetic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of read it like a poem.
Yeah, much more than a narrative.
Yes, and the way you can also understand it is that the night, as he was delaying and watching people, he may have been just figuring out, well, he was maybe trying to figure out who would live and who would die. I don't know. The rules were of that chess game he was playing were not very clear. So why was it such a big victory that when the actors ran away in their courage, why did that make him smile, and how did it resonate with the dialogue he had with Death? That Death had no secrets and knew nothing. Yeah. So it's the moment when the knight was checkmated. Mm-hmm. He gave the expression that he just checkmated Death. So even if Death won on the board, the knight won another game.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. It seemed to me that in watching the acting family, maybe the thing that the knight was most drawn to was their child, Michael. Mm-hmm. Seeing some sense of meaning in children and the future, and reproducing and continuing the line sort of just because, that there is still something hopeful about that, even though he couldn't figure out his own meaning.
Yeah, I was just wondering if none of the characters didn't really feel like they had any agency except for the knight. They were all just playing a role.
Mm-hmm. Like a piece on a chessboard?
Uh-huh. They were like archetypes.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes it more poetic than narrative, because there is so little agency and very little change in any of these characters over the course of the story.
Yeah, the only agency was in the Knight and Death.
Mm. Do you think? Do you think that that the movie or any of the characters followed any particular philosophies in terms of broad philosophies? You know, nihilism or.
Well, I would
pragmatism.
Definitely say that the narrative from the Knight was existentialist. It was quite obviously drawn from Kierkegaard.
Okay.
You know Kierkegaard, Søren Kierkegaard?
I know who he is. I don't know enough about his philosophy to be able to know what you mean.
It's just, no, I don't know much of his philosophy either, but it's basically that we live, that we find our, no, I'm not sure if I can broadcast this, you know. I know so little. It's his suffering. It's all about suffering and what ifs. He did talk about happiness. That when you the one little thing I remember from Kierkegaard is that when he talks about happiness,
Mhm.
is that you are always reaching for it your whole life, and trying to reach it is more important than actually reaching it.
Do you know why that is?
It's because happiness is an idea, and when you grasp the idea, finally, it might just disappear.
You might get bored.
Maybe you might become a knight.
That's true.
Now, what I haven't read Kierkegaard in depth, but he was like the philosopher of suffering, found meaning through suffering.
I see. Well, I can see how you would make that connection then with this movie. There's definitely lots of suffering. Like the witch scene in particular struck me in that way, just about that it seemed to be a low point in the knight's journey, in terms of it felt just impossible for him to find any meaning in that act of burning the witch, and they couldn't even, they didn't even try to save her because she'd already been so mangled at that point that they didn't feel it was worth it.
Yeah, she was basically banished, had been sentenced. So what could he have done? He was just stuck in that world. Maybe getting Joseph and Mary free and out of there was the only thing he could do to change the world. It's kind of funny that they are called Joseph and Mary, right?
Yes, it is. It took until you said that for me to get that. Well, and that was what I noticed about the when the knight first saw the family too, was that when he looks at Mary holding her child, it mirrored the vision that Joseph had at the beginning of the Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good parallel there. It would have been less obvious in the newer translations because they use the Swedish names, which are Jof and Mia.
Okay. So it's the American version that brings the religious context into the names.
Yeah. And just as a side note, I read that so Mia was played by B.B. Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
and Ingmar Bergman was actually having an affair with her for several years at the time of this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have to imagine put her in the movie because of that, possibly. He ended up having relationships with all of his actresses over the course of the years.
Okay, I did not know
a lot of children. Yeah, 5 marriages plus affairs, and probably 8 or 9 children, I think, over the course of it.
I don't know what I can say about the quality of the movie. Maybe it doesn't age very well.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a drowsy dream.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me a little bit on. It's a singular image of the knight playing chess with the death that stands out. We got some attempts at heroics from the squire. We got the evil villain who dies of the plague.
Oh, that's true. The priest.
Yep. And if you think of that he's that the priest is the villain, that gives I guess. So he sends them on a 10-year journey, 10-year meaningless journey of death and destruction. And then when they come back, they see that the holy man is just a common thief, causing suffering to normal people. That's actually interesting. There are lots of religious subtexts there, and I really don't know what kind of relationship Ingmar Bergman had with the church, but I would guess that he wanted separation between state and church.
Probably. I can tell you a little bit about that. He actually he grew up as the son of a Lutheran minister who was the chaplain to the King of Sweden.
Okay.
And it was apparently an extremely strict conservative household and a lot of punishment for little things like wetting the bed. He said he got locked in a closet once for that.
Oh,
and he said there's a quote from the commentary on this movie that's included on the disc, said that Bergman was specifically trying to escape the strict religious upbringing of his parents, and that all of his characters are fragments of himself, but each of them very distinctive. So I could see maybe why those characters are archetypes, is that each of them represents a different part of his personality and his struggle with religion and spirituality versus existentialism or just meaning in general.
Yeah, of course. It's the narrative is basically a search for meaning. And it's obvious that the knight thinks he found the meaning by believing that he let the actors escape the plague, probably, or escape death, because they were no longer in his company.
Even though he knew that it was only temporary, because death would eventually find them.
Not necessarily, because he realized that death doesn't know anything.
As in, he might not know where they went?
So it just makes free associations.
I see.
Yes, and if that is the case, that Bergman was saying that all of these characters were parts of himself, then he let almost every part of himself die, except for the joy of the theater that escaped.
That's true. And that was actually very, that makes sense that would be part of it, because in addition to being a film director, he was actually very active in the theater. And I mentioned that he did over 60 movies, but he actually directed over 170 plays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over the course of his life.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he apparently... I noticed some parallels with Orson Welles, actually, that they both started in the theater and some radio and found their actors through the theater and transferred them onto the screen and kept them as like a regular stable of actors that he would work with regularly for many movies. Like Max von Sydow, the main character, worked with him for 12 movies after this.
Yeah,
Oh, and the actor who played Death in this movie, Bengt Ekeroth, he actually directed the play that this movie was based on.
Okay.
Yeah, because it turned out that, so Bergman had written a play called Wood Painting that had very similar themes, and he staged that at the Malmo City Theater, I believe the capital, or at least a large city in Sweden. I can't remember. The guy who directed that play ended up becoming part of a stable of actors and then played Death because he had such striking features, very prominent brow line and everything.
Yeah, his head was just like the moon. At least in the way he was photographed, yes.
I was curious what you thought of the cinematography, overall, the imagery.
Well, I thought it was pretty carefully planned, especially when the squire goes into the barn and looks up through the window in the roof just to get a little light. And also in the chapel, where this artist is making the punishment scene, which we then see a little bit later.
Right.
There was some pretty decent cinematography over there. and also when they were on each side of the confession bar, that was quite good.
I would agree.
And every time there was a chessboard, that was quite good as well. Also the opening scenes, I liked that they were playing chess at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
The roaring sea. I mean, it's what you can see in Iceland every day. You walk to the beach and you see this. I might actually bring my camera and just remake that scene.
You just have to find a friend to dress up in a cloak.
Or I can play both.
That's true. Double exposure.
There are no friends in the time of COVID, Jonathan.
Oh, how true. I don't know how to say anything meaningful about it, but that was something that struck me watching the film, was just that they were going through such a similarly dark time filled with disease that everybody was trying to escape from. And I can see how living through a period like that would bring up these questions of death and meaning quite often.
Yeah. Do you know when Bergman was born?
He was born in 1918, so he was 38 when he made this movie.
Okay, so he was born during the
flu pandemic.
Second year of the Spanish plague.
Yes, that's true.
Interesting.
And
yeah, I was just wondering if he lived it.
Right, barely. Yeah, he was 38, and this was actually his... I thought it was interesting. It was his 17th film. And what I liked about that was that, his very first film had gotten some notice internationally. It was called Torment, I believe. But he made 15 or 16 films after that really, unless you are very into Bergman, nobody knows about those movies today. And it wasn't until much later in his career that he started suddenly getting noticed, and this movie played at the Cannes Film Festival and won the highest prize, the Palme d'Or. And then this same year, he came out with a movie called Wild Strawberries that's also regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time in a lot of those lists that critics make.
Yeah, it's the text or the script is very good, very lyrical, and the images associated with. I mean, as I say, it's more like a poem than a story,
or a painting.
Yeah, or a painting, or maybe it's just a painting that was in a chapel.
He said he actually was quite inspired by a specific medieval painting that he saw in a church in Sweden by a guy named Albertus Pictor, and it was an image of a man playing chess with death. So his iconic image, he kind of lifted from another artist.
That makes sense. So his name was Pictor.
Pictor, Pictor.
Just have to take a look if I see this. Well, he referred to this picture in the beginning, when actually Death was asking him how he came up with the idea of playing chess with him. I saw it in some piece of art.
Oh, that's true, yes. I do remember that now.
Well, this movie is definitely very personal. And I wonder if something like this could be made today and noticed.
Yeah, the noticed part is the difficult part.
Yeah, definitely could be made.
Yeah, it would be hard for it to get made in the same quiet sort of style. Like, I feel like if it was now and they were making a period piece about the Middle Ages and the plague, it would be much more heightened drama. Trying to really, really pound in the suffering of it all.
Yeah, the night wouldn't have been as passive.
Right, exactly.
A lot of at least 200 infidels at the beginning and stuff like that, right?
Sure, yep. Yeah, we'd see the whole battle at the beginning before he comes back.
Yeah, the backstory. What is interesting is how, when you think about the backstory today in movies, you kind of know everything about everyone. It becomes part of the story to explain them. But there's no explanation here. They just are. Yeah.
And they immediately at the beginning of the film, the very first thing that happens is the chessboard. They just wake up they've been sleeping on the ground, and they wake up and get right to it.
But why were they sleeping on the ground over there? I was wondering if they had been shipwrecked or...
Yeah. It was strange to sleep on the rocks in particular, but...
Well, actually, if you lie on these rocks at the beach, it's quite comfortable.
Oh, okay. That's something I've not experienced.
No, it's... I've gone to some beaches in Iceland and just lie down on the rocks. And it just feels like a huge bed.
Are they that soft?
They are quite soft, yes, because they've been smoothened out by the sea. So it's not that bad idea.
I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, it's more annoying when you are at a sandy beach, when the sand goes all over into every crease of your body.
Yes, that's for sure.
The rocks are better.
That's true. It would have been more annoying to nap on the sand and get all that sand in your armor and your chain link and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but I have to admit that I got drowsy, tired in the middle of the movie. I mean, it's not really entertaining.
Not in the traditional sense of the word, no.
No, it's one of the reasons I rarely watch the philosophical movies. They challenge you too much. You have to start giving from yourself to get something more out of the movie. And this is one of those movies.
It feels like it's an effort to watch it.
Yeah.
Rather than zoning out and letting it wash over you.
What you get out of it is whatever you give it. And in that sense, it's good. So it's one of those movies that is neither good nor bad, great or awful. It's somewhere in the twilight zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hard to judge or compare to other movies.
Yeah, and maybe that's what makes it unique.
It's hard to think of another movie that I could compare to it.
Except for Bill and Ted. Or Monty Python, The Holy Grail.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I remembered at the end that that was another of the parodies, I think, of this movie was Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I suddenly remembered the entire scene near the end of the movie where Death, the Grim Reaper, comes to visit a whole dinner party that discovers they've been poisoned by the salmon moose.
Yes.
And I love the way that they parody the Dance of Death by having everybody come out of the house in a big line and they're all wondering where they're going, following Death, who's dancing away. And then they all stop and decide to take their cars instead. And so they hop into the cars that become ghost cars that allow them to drive off into the next world.
Definitely the great comedies, Bill and Ted and Monty Python have ripped this one off. Wasn't there a Woody Allen movie called that was about death? Everybody died. It was very similar to that.
It
Monty
sounds
Python.
vaguely familiar. I don't recall.
I think he had a movie called Love and Death.
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar. I haven't seen that one.
Yes, I can show you a still from it.
Oh, I think I might be looking at it. Is it a Grim Reaper in white with a scythe?
I thought this resembled a little bit this movie, and he probably had Death in White just to annoy Bergman or something.
Well, the last note that I had here that I thought was interesting was that Bergman, he would often sign his scripts with the initials SDG, which stands for Soli Deo Gloria, or To God Alone the Glory, which is what J.S. Bach did at the end of every composition he made.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and there's a quote here. Regardless of my own beliefs and my own doubts, which are unimportant in this connection, it is my opinion that art lost its basic creative drive the moment it was separated from worship. The ability to create was a gift. In such a world flourished invulnerable assurance and natural humility. Thus, if I'm asked what I would like the general purpose of my films to be, I would reply that I want to be one of the artists in the cathedral on the Great Plain. I want to make a dragon's head, an angel, a devil, or perhaps a saint out of stone. It doesn't matter which, it is the sense of satisfaction that counts. Regardless of whether I believe or not, whether I am a Christian or not, I would play my part in the collective building of the cathedral.
Yeah, makes sense. I think I saw that exactly that message in this movie. It's just he seems to be looking for some kind of freedom, a choice. He's looking for time. What can he do with his life? What should he do with his life? Because if Bergman is the knight, he's asking himself, what is it that I'm doing that's worth doing? I mean, why am I making all these plays and movies? Where do they lead? Will it be more meaningful what I do? What if I could only do one thing in this lifetime? Should it be meaningful?
Mm-hmm.
Should I save someone?
That makes it such a great irony that this would become one of his first movies to really become a huge success internationally, when he is questioning himself and his entire life and career like that.
Yeah. And maybe that's why he found his way. Because he's asking that deep question. Why am I doing this? How can I make it better? I mean, here the night you noticed that he was talking about how lonely he was. He's in the company with a total bore himself. Right? Did Bergman see himself like that? I wonder.
Entirely possible.
And that he's making all these plays and movies just to entertain himself a little bit. But he's still always alone.
I can imagine where some of that may have come from is that he wrote the script while he was in the hospital. Okay. He wrote both this one and Wild Strawberries at about the same time. And it didn't say why he was in there other than a stomach complaint, but it was long enough to finish 2 film scripts.
Well, one day at the hospital could be enough for that.
Yeah, but I could see how, stuck there all alone most of the time and just there with your thoughts with very little to do would bring up maybe some of these questions.
Well, you see, when I had my heart attack a few years ago, mm-hmm. I got so bored I published 3 books.
Wow.
Yeah, I was working like 70% at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And those days that I was not allowed to go to work, I just had to do something productive with them. That's what I did. I was just challenging myself to try to publish quick and easy before I would get starting again 100%. So,
were any of those books about the meaning of life?
Oh, no. They're not that deep. One is about how to publish, and the other is about chess.
Well, you could say that chess, in a way, is about the meaning of life.
Yes, but it doesn't teach you how to play against death,
Did you glean anything from the chess game that they were playing? Were they doing anything interesting, move or play-wise?
It was hard to recognize the pieces.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They're very oddly shaped.
I couldn't even tell if he was checkmated by a rook or a queen. And then there must have been a bishop somewhere protecting the final square. So there's a religious connotation there.
I would imagine that they tried to pay attention to that sort of detail, judging by the rest of the movie.
Yes. But I have to tell you that the games in Queen's Gambit were much more interesting.
Well, they definitely focused a lot more on what was happening on the board.
Yes. And they were not that one-sided,
That's true. That would have been a very different ending to that show for her to be playing against death as the Grand Master in the end.
That could be the sequel,
Yes, there we go.
She has beaten all the humans. Now it's the demigods, and then it's the gods. And then...
Yeah, working her way up to the final Grand Master.
That would be nice. No, it's... I was just thinking the same as death at the end. My mind has become empty,
Oh, okay. Well, then that sounds like a good place to end it. And the last thing that I ask in each episode is based on the Criterion Collection's mission statement, which is that they want to publish important contemporary and historical works from world cinema. Do you think that a movie like this belongs in the collection?
Yes, that's basically because he executes the scenes with the chessboard and death very well. It belongs there. It's a unique movie.
Very unique.
But I would not say it's entertaining. I would not say it's particularly meaningful for myself, my own sort. It seems a little dated philosophically. It's very, very much bothered with religious values. And of course, living in Iceland and Norway, you hardly notice those anymore. People are just expected to be decent, and that's it. So I don't feel like this heavy hand of the church is still a part of everyday life like it used to be.
That might be one thing that would prevent it from being made today, like we were talking about, is that the context just isn't there anymore.
That's what I was saying, yes. Good way to express it. Yeah, we are living in different times. But yes, I think it deserves to be preserved and watched and appreciated. But I don't feel it speaks to me.
That's an important distinction. Would you recommend it to anybody?
To anyone who enjoys movies, philosophy, and chess.
Do you feel like going and watching the rest of Bergman's movies now?
Not more than I did, but I might. I have a collection at my home in Norway.
Oh, wow.
All on DVDs, but pretty far away.
You might have to send for them.
Or I'll just watch one when I visit.
You can space them out since they're so tiring.
Yes. It's an effort. What I enjoy more than anything about this is to experience podcasting with you.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm honored.
Well, I am honored.
All right. Well, with that, I will close things out. Thank you all so much for joining us. And next on the list, I believe we have The Hidden Fortress by Akira Kurosawa.